If the sun vanished at this very microsecond, you wouldn't even notice. For 8 minutes and 20 seconds, the world would remain warm, bright, and perfectly still.
But then, reality would tear itself apart. In an instant, the sky doesn't just go dark, it vanishes, and the earth is cut loose, flying into the abyss at 67,000 miles per hour. If you think the biggest problem is the cold, you aren't thinking deep enough.
Welcome to Deep Science Explained. The sun is the anchor of our existence, a nuclear furnace that has governed every breath of life for 4 billion years. We take its presence for granted, but its disappearance for just 24 hours wouldn't just be a blackout. It would be a fundamental breakdown of the laws of physics and biology.
By the end of this video, you will understand the terrifying fragility of our solar system. We are going to explore the gravitational snap, the instantaneous atmospheric collapse, and a biological mystery that suggests life might survive in a way you've never imagined.
This is a journey through the dark, connecting the survival of your world to the deep science of entropy and orbital mechanics. This isn't just a what-if scenario. It's a diagnostic of the cosmic machinery that keeps you alive.
Here's where it gets even stranger. If the sun vanished, we wouldn't see it happen, because light has a speed limit, and gravity, according to Einstein, travels at that exact same speed. The Earth would continue to orbit an invisible, non-existent ghost for over 8 minutes. Imagine it. The birds are still singing, the solar panels are still charging, and you're still feeling the warmth on your skin. But the source is already gone. We are living in a lag.
Then, at the 8-minute and 20-second mark, the lights go out. But it's not like a sunset. It's a total, immediate erasure of the sky. The moon and planets disappear instantly because they have no light of their own to reflect. You are left in a darkness so profound that the only thing visible are the distant stars. Stars that suddenly look much more terrifying now that they are your only neighbors. But this is the part nobody tells you. As the light vanishes, the gravitational snap occurs.
The Earth is no longer being pulled into an elliptical orbit. We are suddenly traveling in a straight line into the deep void of interstellar space.
But here's where it gets crazy. You might think the Earth would shake, or we'd feel a massive jolt as we fly off into space. But because we are in a state of free fall, you wouldn't feel a thing. The planet is moving at 30 kilometers per second. But without the sun's gravity to resist, it's like being in an elevator when the cable snaps, except the elevator is the size of a world. Within the first hour, the temperature begins to drop.
Not to a chilly autumn evening, but a sharp, biting cold that seeps into the very crust of the planet. However, the Earth is a remarkably good thermal insulator. The heat stored in our oceans and under our soil is immense. This is the part where everything breaks, the atmosphere. Without the sun's radiation to keep the air energized, the weather patterns stop. The wind dies. The clouds, deprived of the thermal lift that created them, begin to sag.
Within 24 hours, the very air you breathe begins to change its physical state. If this were to last, the gases would eventually liquefy and then freeze, raining down as nitrogen snow. But for now, in these 24 hours, the Earth is just exhaling.
What would you do in those first hours of the great cold? Would you huddle with your family? Or would you look up at the stars, realizing for the first time how lonely the universe actually is? This is the part of Science Explained that touches on the existential. Within hours of the sun vanishing, the foundation of all life, photosynthesis, grinds to a halt. Every leaf, every blade of grass, and every phytoplankton in the ocean stops producing oxygen.
But here is the awe moment. We wouldn't suffocate. Not yet. The Earth's atmosphere contains enough oxygen to sustain us for thousands of years. The real crisis
is the sugar crash. Plants stop making food. The base of the food chain crumbles instantly.
But here's where it gets even deeper. While the surface world is panicking, deep in the Mariana Trench and near volcanic vents, life doesn't care. To the extremophiles living on geothermal heat, the sun is a myth. They live on the Earth's internal fire.
In this 24-hour dark, we realize that we are a surface civilization, entirely dependent on a star. But the Earth itself has a deep civilization that is completely independent. If this is true, then life is far more resilient than humanity. We are the fragile ones.
But here's the part nobody tells you: the human reaction. Within 12 hours of the sun disappearing, the global power grid would face a catastrophic surge. Everyone on the planet would turn on their heaters and lights at the exact same moment.
This is the deep science of societal entropy. Our infrastructure is designed for a world with a day and a night. Without the day to offset the load, the systems we rely on would begin to melt down. Communications would fail as satellites, deprived of their solar recharge, begin to drift or shut down.
What would happen to our digital world when the sun stops powering it? We are a civilization built on light. In 24 hours of darkness, we would see the true quantum nature of our society, how quickly we can transition from order to chaos when the lights go out.
But this is where everything turns into a mind-bending science lesson. What if, after exactly 24 hours, the sun just reappears? You might think everything goes back to normal, but the Earth has been traveling in a straight line for a day.
We are now nearly 1.6 million miles away from where we should have been. The sun's gravity would suddenly grab us again. But because we are further away and moving in a different vector, our orbit would be permanently altered. We might enter a much more eccentric, wobbly orbit. The seasons as you know them would be destroyed. One half of the year might be a scorched desert, the other a frozen wasteland.
So, here is the reveal. The mystery we've been exploring isn't about the sun at all. It's about the gravity of existence. We think of ourselves as independent beings, but deep science explained reveals that we are tethered. We are literally falling around the sun every second of our lives. The sun isn't just a lamp, it is a leash. If the sun disappeared, we wouldn't just be cold, we would be lost.
This changes our entire perspective on the universe. We aren't standing on solid ground. We are clinging to a rock that is being whipped around a giant explosion. This gives us a goosebumps moment of cosmic perspective.
We feel so significant, yet our entire history, our wars, our loves, and our future depend on a single gravitational connection that we cannot see and can never control. You aren't just a person on a planet. You are a passenger on a 4.5 billion-year-old high-speed journey.
The fact that the sun doesn't disappear is the only reason anything matters. The sun disappearing for 24 hours would be a tragedy, but it would also be a revelation of the invisible forces that hold reality together. It reminds us that safety is an illusion provided by a distant star. And if you think the disappearance of the sun is terrifying, wait until you see what happens when the sun doesn't go away, but instead begins to expand. Tell me in the comments, if you had 8 minutes before the lights went out forever, who would you call and what would you say?
I read every single comment, and your answers often provide the best insight into the human side of this cosmic mystery. Make sure to subscribe to Deep Science Explained to keep your eyes open to the scale of the world. The dark is vast, but the light is everything.